Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Worlds and Crafts. Midday maps. Who's all in here today? Well, I can't really apparently see terribly well. So, check out, looks like... Ooh. I'll put midday maps in our Discord. Oh, hey, Mark. How you doing? Not saying I need a ton of viewers or something. No. I started late, so I wanted people to know that I'm still doing it. I did send out that tweet, but, well, things happen. So, yes, this is Worlds and Crafts, a stream devoted to opening the curtain of creation on setting building, where we talk about metaplots, minutiae, and mechanics, but most of all on Thursdays we talk about maps. Oop, my pop screen. Maps. So, how is everyone doing today? I appreciate your amplification, Mark, as always. So, I made a little bit of a boo-boo. I didn't actually get the opportunity / take the opportunity. I think I had like one chance this past week to work on this city area, and I missed it. So I wasn't able to actually work on the stamp creation, the asset creation, using Incarnate. I know I could do it in something like Procreate, but well, didn't really happen. So I'm gonna move on from that for the moment. And I'm doing pretty good, your big dad. Yeah, feeling pretty low key this morning, like, or afternoon, rather. It's morning when you've only been awake for an hour. Well, a little over an hour. We did do a lot of work. Oh, big damp dad. We did a lot of work on last night on Gator City, so there is that. So we could very well see if there's a Gator stamp of some sort. And if not, let's look actually. I'm gonna search all styles. I'm gonna look for alligator, maybe crocodile. No. You're working on a technocrat one shot? That's neat. Are you talking about technocrat as in mage, or is this a different thing? So, my God, please make a cameo of Murph from C Lab 2021. Oh, Mark, you lost power? I didn't know that. I haven't been paying enough attention, apparently. Over my head it goes. Yes. C Lab 2021 is an absolutely cursed show, but it's so good. That's crazy. I mean, I guess that, makes sense considering Hurricane, Tropical Storm, something or other. Oh, you're Big Dad. Don't be so mean to yourself. No one's stormy. Alright, so it looks like Gator City is kind of out of the question here, unless Find an alligator asset. Hurricane White Karen. Beautiful. It demanded to speak to Connecticut's manager, and it didn't go so well. I'm moderately alarmed by some of the images I'm finding right now. God, that was a mistake. I looked up alligator clip art and I hate it. So moving on. So no Gator City this week. I'm gonna have a running list of things I have to work on. Because finding an asset or making one for Gator City. That said, I was working on concept art for it recently. Doing some thumbnails of alligators and long lizards of various types. Well, let's go ahead and go back down to the city on the bluffs area, because even though we don't have the city itself, there's nothing saying we can't work on the area around it. Because we want to add some small things. Some fun little things. A chasm? No, I don't want to add a chasm. Birds. God rays. There are some really great things you can add after everything is said and done. But before then, you kind of want to not. That's temporary, or that's potentially problematic. Here, fortress. Looks like it's probably going to be the wrong everything, but everything. Up, I said. Grab the fort. I don't want the entrance right there. That's my only problem. Ah, you make no sense. Gonna go look at other stamps. Maybe there's other fortresses. Fortress town. Oh, neat. Not what we're looking for. Okay. And I think we had decided that for the most part, this lovely region over here thrives on a lot of fishing, some lumber, so there's got to be trees up here as well. But add town. I feel like there's definitely a town at the, like just off the road. Comes down here, which also means that there's probably a bridge. A bridge. So many bridges. Cool. Don't search all styles. Karst bridge, elven bridges, no stone bridge. Pretty cute looking bridge. That's adorable. Except it's the wrong direction. I like it. I like it. Perfect. Go ahead and find some towers. Come on, watchtowers. Some sort. Check out tower 2. Those are red for some reason. So something we can do, something fun, is we can take stone wall towers just in the same size that we have had them. And going over here. Then we'll do one that sits at the edge of the world. On the edge of the map. Mostly because it seems like places like this would have watch. And then for the very just in case, there's one on the peak of the mountain. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I want to find, I think it's a spire instead of a tower. Yeah, spire. Oh, I'm gonna stack these, but I'm gonna shrink the spire down a lot and bring the spire up a layer. I want it to be in front. Actually, maybe that's not what I want. Wrong thing. But nonetheless, you get the idea. I'm building a roof on it. A roof. Go with it. Lighthouses? No. I think there was an elven building of some sort that was just a squat round thing. No, there's just elves. Oh, it looks like it's time to just look through. Looking for something to act as a roof over these poor lads. Tent could do. Bring that up in size if I can see it. Kind of neat. I like that. From afar, you're not gonna really be able to tell that it's tent on top of a. And hello there, Ivelon. I'm not so sure I'm fond of you calling me Branny Poo, but you know, free country. Bring that down. Nope. I hate it. Feeling indecisive today, apparently. Go back to towers. Honestly, let's just use some elven wall towers. Very bright. Oh, watchtower. There we go. That's more what I'm looking for. Guess I should have typed watchtower. Hello there, Rosie. So currently what I'm using is Incarnate. And wow, my fingers were on the right positions on the keyboard. I could actually type that. Oh, that didn't work. Maybe it's hash. Maybe it's maps. Oh, caps lock. There we go. Yeah. So I'm using Incarnate right now, which is a web-based. It's a web browser program. With I don't think a downloadable component yet. So it is cloud-based. So you can't use it if you don't have internet. But good golly, it is wonderful because it's really easy to use and also just adaptable. So I personally love it. It's also really inexpensive. size. Back a little. Watchtower here. Tower over here. Watchtower over here. I think that covers all the areas I wanted to. Yeah. Visitas. Wunderbar. Okay, so I think it's time to add some trees. Gotta be some pines over there, I feel like. Pine trees. And one of my new favorite tools here is that I can set up a radius. So I can do like a radius of 5, and it'll fill it with whatever stamp I choose. And I'm just choosing randomized trees at the moment. So, drop a bunch of trees in here. I really love the way that looks with the pine trees right this second. So I'm gonna undo those. And that reminds me, I need to save my changes. Happy trees. Yeah, well now they're gone. So I will say something that's really interesting about Incarnate. Right this second, I think I just went for a 2K map, but I might have gone for a 4K. Either way, if you go for the 4K maps, they can be a lot to handle, and they are considered a beta feature as a result. So they can crash. I haven't had them crash yet, not in a while. It usually takes me not saving a lot, or like spending like 4 hours working, and like, it's the moment that you choose to not save changes, and your browser is panting and sweating, going, "What are you doing to me?" That it becomes a problem. Otherwise, it doesn't seem like it's really that big of a deal. How big are our trees down here? I'd like things to be somewhat uniform. Oh, right, I locked those layers because I'm very smart. So that's one thing you can also do, is you can lock all these objects so that I can't accidentally move them. Alright, so I did size 30 for the trees. I'm not gonna... So the only way you can select locked objects is by going into your corner setup over here, your side menu, and having the objects tab right here open. Yeah. So, but if those were size 30, I should probably keep these ones similar size. But as a result, our watchtowers are going to look underwhelming, like super tiny. I'm going to select our watchtowers. Holding control, I can click on multiples because, it's intuitive. I'm going to set the size of these to 20. Still a little bit too big. 18. 17. I'm going to give the same treatment to these. Wow. 16. Yeah, we'll go a little smaller. Okay. I'm really bad with slider bars. My hand is, yes, village of giants. Welcome. My house is size of mountain. Don't ask why they're Russian. Parody Russian. But go back to adding some trees, because this place needs some foliage. And so I'm just gonna click around, Gonna follow that river. Not being afraid to overlap the river because overlapping creates conflict. Ah, water delivery. Thank you. And I do want these trees to be behind this wall. So while they're on top of it right now, because Incarnate tends to automatically put objects tends to automatically overlap objects if they're more than a certain distance. I don't know, on top. Yeah, I'm not sure how the thing works, but I'll just demonstrate. I have a tree. Tree is behind the wall. Oh, the tree is perpetually in front of it because it's on layer 4. Well, never mind. These are just on a higher layer. But if you're placing objects like trees and they're on the same layer, it does this. It has a point where we're overlapping, or where it raises or becomes a where it automatically goes up like half a layer or down, so that it still creates depth automatically. Yeah. When you say open-ended campaign, do you also mean you haven't made all of the like world building decisions? Like, because I mean, I've done a lot of those. Like, that's literally how I've game mastered most of my existence. Oh, wait, just gonna take all these trees right here. This cluster of trees, objects. I just added some pine trees, so I'm gonna. Please tell me I can just. Yes, I can. Okay. Shift select. Beautiful. I'm just gonna go ahead and lower. Didn't get them all. And lower their layer so that way that they're all on the same thing. I guess let's go ahead and grab these pine trees. Ah, I don't want the watchtower. Yep, pine trees. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay. I was hoping this was one of those situations where I could easily select a specific number of things, but here's not. Is that all of them? Like it is. Okay. Now let's lower their collective layer. But again, there we go. That does mean that some of these are appearing behind the mountains, which I don't love. But it's not going to really be super noticeable from far away, so it won't matter. But now that I've lowered the layer of them, it actually looks normal. They're not sitting on top of the friggin' wall. Text. I am intentionally trying to leave gaps in these trees because I don't want it to be weird and hyper uniform. Definitely want it to feel broken up. I could work Evelyn. In the past, what I've found is really fun for me, you know, and this is just a preference, not a really suggestion. Is that you build the starting area. You know, you build where the place is gonna start, including most of the NPCs, but then leave some things intentionally not filled in. But then, you know, when you're ready to move on, during player character creation, you tell people, it's like, well, where do you want to be from? What kind of place? And they're like, well, what kind of places are there? And it's like, well, I'm asking you, what kind of place you want to be from? Like, because you have the opportunity to build, to build with this. You have the opportunity to create a space, you know, and a lot of the times I found people enjoy that. Especially if it's an expectation ahead of time. Be like, we're going into this without a fully made world. So, you know, you can, anywhere you're from, can definitely be under your initial control. That is, as far as what it looks like, the shape of it, what the people are like. And if you're feeling like you don't want it to be too ridiculous, then just give them a guideline. Like, we're aiming for this type of thing. But yeah, that's my preferred method of doing complete pantser games, where I'm just like, I don't want to deal with making a world for this, and I don't want to use someone else's either. That was a problem I always had. Struggled to work in other people's content for years. Added some nice forests here around the city. I love the stamp tool. Lets me put little clusters of trees happy instead of having to detail them out. I feel like there's a gate right here. Okay, so now that we've placed plenty of objects, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna go ahead and do some shading. So there's some automatic shadows that you can see there that generate with every stamp. And while the shadows are nice and they do add a big element of depth, some of the objects still tend to look like they're floating. So we wanna mitigate that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a brush, pretty small. I will do size 4. And I've got this dark brown color that you can already see here because it was already used to outline the mountains. And I'm just gonna go in underneath all the objects I've placed and create some shadows. Gonna create a little bit of depth, make it look even more, or the higher contrast makes it more compelling. But I'm gonna lower the opacity because I don't want it to be super dark all the time, all the way. This is something that I've noticed has been used as well in real-time strategy games. If you place an object on your map, a lot of the times it develops this kind of thing around it. It's this darkening of the earth around it. And it's just to help it stand out, to help you be able to see it properly. And it's simple but brilliant. So what we're doing, we're just trying to make it so our city walls, our trees, everything, that it's all got a unifying element to it. Looks like it's all part of the same world now because you've connected it to the ground via this weird shadow. Because that's how the human brain works, apparently. It helps to suspend your sense of disbelief. And do it to the little tower as well. We missed the top of this cliff. So when you're putting up cliffs, typically you want to do it along the top of these and the bottom of them, leaving the edges pretty bright for the moment. We can always come back in and re-highlight. But now I'm also gonna do this because I want there to be a road at some point. And this is just gonna be a guideline for that road. That say this is road exists. There is a paths function that is really great, but I'm not using it right now because paths is kind of something you apply at the end of your map. Otherwise, yeah, it's a finishing touch. I don't think you really want that early on. It's like political coloring type stuff, which Incarnate is also equipped for. If you wanted to do a political map with black and white markers instead of a colorful map like this, you definitely can. There are parchment paper style maps. After we're done shading, I'll actually show you guys the available map types. And wow, I bungled that up like crazy. Oh, I remember how that happened. Because I moved it. Let me just fix our wall before I shadow under it. Stop rotating. There. It's still rotated too much. Line up my wall parts. Okay. There you go. But yeah, so I really enjoy Incarnate a ton. Before I started doing Worlds and Crafts and basically scheduling myself a time to work with it like uh every week. I mean, ultimately that's what I did. I would spend a long time. Just like I wouldn't touch it for a couple weeks, and then I would hop on and I would be making maps for like 4 to 6 hours, because it's so easy to get the satisfaction of the map coming together. Kind of cheating in that way. You're like, ah, yes, this tool allows me to have the satisfaction of the map nearing completion, even though it's not. Like right now, this is intensely satisfying. I'm like, look at this. I can already kind of tell that there would be a city here, a village. This is a place that people could live. And yet the rest of the map is completely missing any sign of civilization at all, except for just around the corner. You still have steps, that are best practices, but just because of its nature, it's a lot easier to use. Go ahead and grab this Manor House. I'm going to shrink it down like crazy for certain. All right. So this is, a manor house, so it's quite large. But I don't know if size 10 is the wrong size. I think size 11 is good. This isn't like a huge city at current, just based on what we're doing. And it's certainly not going to match the imagery, but it is representational more than anything. So, gonna drop this on in here. Probably put it pretty close to the wall there. More buildings. That's cool. Ah, that's lovely. Rar. Ooh, yes, I like this a lot. I did not know these existed. Color me excited. Okay, got some more guardhouses then. There's one there. Add one over here. Oh no, you don't have the bean emote in here? Curses. Darn. God, it's just such a bummer. Gosh, golly, gee willikers. All right, now let's go ahead and do a search for town. So that's one thing I wish that Incarnate would include is tags for your stamps. It's a lot, and I know that's a lot of extra work for them, so it's not really important either. But there's like town sets, or like Tudor Town. So if you show all, it's all these individual buildings, and so they're named after their parent. But it's a little frustrating sometimes, because you'll have to kind of go, okay, what is another thing I could search for? If I'm looking for houses, what am I searching for? And it's like town, village, because the villages aren't in here either, and there are in fact villages. There's also city, right? So human city. So here's all these lovely human city buildings. But I actually am a really big fan of those Tudor Town, because I really like the Tudor building style. Friggin' adore it. It's wonderful. Oh, it's doing randomized stamp. I'm like, what is going on? Let's grab Tudor Town, which sounds like a theme place. Go to my stamp. I want the settings. Stamp options. Catalog. Do not randomize these. I want to choose specific stamps. That is a very big building. Shrink that. And that's another problem you're going to run into occasionally, is that sometimes stamp sets are slightly different. Slightly different sizes. Tater Town. I sure didn't. The size 8. That looks a bit more nominal. I realize this is snapping to a grid for me, which is cool and all, but I don't actually want that right now. So let me see if I can turn that off. Or not. I might not be able to right now. Or I might just not know how to. Okay. That's alright. We'll allow it to snap to grid, and hopefully we'll be able to just pick them up and move them as is necessary. I understand the point of this lovely grid is so that you can more easily place houses. It is a pretty cool feature, don't get me wrong. Why is it not placing objects? It's getting strange. Tater Town. Tater Town is giving me problems. Alright, well, let's go see if we can grab the individual things we've made. Yeah, we can. And we can move them, which is the important part. So, we can always duplicate as well. Control copy, control paste work. We'll see control V. Right, well, this apparently will not go behind the thing, so I'll just put it back here. Houses, some buildings are at the same angle to each other, which is nice. So you can like connect them visually if you wanted to make a giant structure of some. But I'm not really all about that right this moment. And we'll put it here, make a little block out of it. In the back. I'll just make a little row of these. Then we need to add something to break it up as well. So let's drop bad boy in there. I'm sitting up here and suddenly I just hear Mona from outside. Whoa! Whoa! We, for those who haven't been seeing the absolute bombardment of, why won't you let me select individual? Why? Why do you do this? Said no random stamp. Give me that stamp. Holy shit, thank you. So we have kind of adopted a mouse. The baby, but not like hairless eyes closed baby. A little bit older that wandered into Danny's studio somehow. We're really not sure how it got in. So that's another problem and curiosity. But very hungry. So we started taking care of it a little bit. Because Danny is a lover of all things small. And I am too, realistically. I wouldn't want to throw it outside. It's too cute and too small and too helpless, and I would feel like a jerk. But yeah, we have adopted a mouse, and Puppy Lover has named them Matilda. I don't know why these are suddenly choosing to be weird. Okay, so what we're totally gonna need still in here somewhere is like a keep of some sort, maybe. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that pretty close to those walls. Maybe like the original structure that was here. Oh, actually, something we could do is excuse me, rude. We could bring this to the top level, um, drop it over here, and just like delete the tower. Could make it so that this is like the original structure that was here. Once again, there's a door facing the cliff, and I hate it. Alright, I'm gonna use our lovely changes history. I'm not gonna restore to the add one object, because that was just me adding the keep. And now I'm gonna save it. Yeah, so we definitely need a keep. We need castle of some sort. Maybe. Or not a castle, but a place of governance. So let's not call it a castle. Castles are for aristocratic scum. Let's look for. Oh, we already did keep. Let's look for castle. See if there's anything interesting there. Yeah. Temple. That's cool. Well, that's. Oh, I like that. Is that, even though that's a temple, it could very easily be like hall of government or something. Definitely doesn't have to be exclusively. But it's very pretty, so I think what I'm gonna do is yeah, I'll put it over here. No, let's move it out this way. I like the idea of it being more visible than not. But I think they need a fountain. I think they need a fountain. Do you think they need a fountain? They need a fountain. Fountain. I'm thinking this lovely star-shaped thing. And I'm definitely gonna shrink that down because that's like the size of people's houses. But I don't want to go too small with it. So 8, 6, 5. Hey, I said, no, does it not go below 10? Oh, it doesn't go below 10. That's gotta be a lie. It is. Okay. So you can't, in the actual size up here, go below 10, but you can certainly drag the size. And I just want this right out front of here because I think that'd be very cool. Very fun. Towers, maybe? Oh, for some reason flowers showed up in towers, but that's lovely. Hello. Far too large. Going to have to shrink you. But that is still... Don't turn it sideways. Select them. There we go. Very much shrink. Mucho shrink. Add a splash of color. Now it doesn't look quite so sterile. Up. 2. I have to undo so much. Mostly because it would be halfway to impossible to grab those. These ones are practically moved. Paste. Drag. Let's find where the front corner would be. We'll start there. Front corner would be over here. Copy and paste. And these down there. Okay. And now it feels like the other ones can be invisible, and that's not a problem. Beautiful. Right. Mindlessly detailed, you said? There we go. Mindlessly detailed. I think we need a marketplace. A marketplace for the town where they can trade objects and things that they've brought in or such. Good. Da-na-na-na. Market stalls. And I feel like the market would probably be just like right across the way from this lovely place. Oh, the sizes of things have already increased. Also back to random stamping. I asked you not to. So I'm just gonna place objects, even though I'm not gonna keep them there, just so I have them available. Oh, thing is, part of my problem. Man, that makes so much more sense. That whole snap to grid thing was my damn brush. Oh, that's fixed. Turn them back on random stamps, because if I don't mind random stamps if it's not doing that weird dancing thing. Alright. Grab all these, shrink them the crap down. They need to be larger, don't they? Too. Because there are houses by. Do one more time. How big were those? Too big? No, those weren't too big at all, actually. My Hall of Government now looks incredibly underwhelming, though. I think it needs to increase in size. Okay. Better. Thought. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna go through my style packs on the left, and I'm gonna Get rid of mountains, hills, trees, vegetation, ethereal flora, nature, nature. And now it should be mostly just civilization-based things. So I'm gonna take a look through those, because what I'd really like to do is find a building of some sort that looks like it could hatch to our little temple here, so we can kind of increase its versatility as an image, instead of it just looking like a cathedral right there. Instead of it just looking like there's like there's openings on all sides. Oh, there's a parliament building. Good to know. Very spiky. Powers to the back. But I want it all. Alright. Delete those out of the way. We'll send that back a layer. Attach this directly. Do one more. Up a layer for that. Flowers are overlapping it. Move specific ones out of the way. Alright. That looks like it's a lot more spacious side. And like it's a little bit more governmentary. Back to the marketplace. So I was thinking that there would be that out of the way. I was thinking that there would be a gate over here as well. That, like a good place for a gate. I'm gonna drag a dark mark through here, so I have it in my own mind. And a marketplace directly inside the gate seems like a hazard, and I don't care. Welcome to Hazardville. Population U. Go back to our stamp collection, grab some interesting, different stamps. God, that's huge right now. Sage, that's huge. And I still wanted to. What else do we? Oh, lovely. Else, like this one as well. What is that? That is a tiny building. Drag this and put it behind the guardhouse, because I don't want it overlapping the guardhouse. Select something different. I'm clicking the wrong button. Likewise, find things. And I think that's probably perfect for what we need. Let's take our little little thingy here. I'm actually going to bring it down to like a size 1. Bring up my opacity. So that way it's just, immediately the darkest. And a little line. Mostly because what I want to do is I'm not going to just... I'm just going to kind of click and dot along. I want to imply where my paths are down. And I need to go back in and add some more buildings. And there are obviously other paths. This whole area over here is going to be quite dark because of the foot traffic of the market. So I'm going to bring our opacity back down to 5-ish. I'm going to bring my brush size up. Let's go to size, let's say 8. Yeah, that'll do. I'm just going to start clicking and dragging slightly underneath these buildings to unify the ground around them without being its darkest of darks. Most of the town's going to be that way, but I still want some disparity, some variance, what the ground looks like. Back in and add a couple more buildings. Look at our recent stamps. Tudor town, that's right. Tudor. Very rude. Back. Now I have to bring everything else in this little sector back a layer. Buildings. Two of these. All. How about right? Let's select these. Bring those back enough so that way they're actually behind things. And I think we've only got like really one kind of blank spot in here that could use some filling. And that's right over here. So what I was thinking of for that section. Well, let's add another another guardhouse. Add one. It's huge. I think those were like size, or their smallest possible size. Size 11, close. But yeah, let's add one of these over here. And we could probably add some trees in the town as well. So we'll hold off on that. I actually was thinking that that down next to the temple area, down next to the building, there would be maybe like a garden of some sort. Hide all of these so that way I don't clutter up my screen. Let's take a look at they have available. Farming a crane, a clock tower. I don't think clocks are a thing here. At least not that kind of clock. Why don't we add a granite obelisk? I think there's one that's, I think the other one is are a different, facing a different direction. It is, but only slightly. Well, I think that one will be nicer. So let's go back to our selector tool. Delete. Down ever so slightly, not by a whole lot, because I don't want to mess with that too. Go over here. There we go. That will do. And now, going to add some trees. All right. Let's add back all of our fantasy battle map stuff. Oh, cherry blossom tree. That'll certainly do wonderfully. Fix that in a second. There we go. Now, once again, we're just gonna take our brush and butts around, make sure that there's enough shadow around these objects to make them pop a little dark spots. Then though, what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna use a brighter green grass color. Up my brush size ever so slightly to 3. I keep my opacity pretty low. I'm gonna go and just add some touches of green in here. Just it feel more alive, like maybe they take care of the town, not just mud. Flavor changes. And this is something we haven't done thus far on any other part of the map, is bringing a sense of greenery outside of trees to the place. But you typically want to wait until after you've placed all your stamps for that area. Because then you go in and you find the blank spots that might need a little bit of something extra. You can just start adding whatever greenery you think might be there. And there are also like grass stamps you can add, so those can be nice. I don't think the market would that would be an area that would be tread on quite a lot. But we can definitely add some green over here. Maybe even around the fountain a little bit. Yeah, we'll add some greenery in. We'll just keep it patchy. And this can also help to really define the borders of where people walk in your region, your town, because it draws the eye toward the aisle, so to speak, toward the middle, where those darkest spots are. And a little more here. And I think for a finishing touch on this, I'm gonna go ahead and add some grasses. See if the grasses are all right. Like those. Return to the brush foreground. Gonna cancel out all those grasses. So what I'll do instead is I'll take my brush tool and lower it down to size 1. I'm gonna come in here and do land yellow. Zoom in because my mouse work is not the greatest. See if maybe I can just add a little reflection. That might not be light enough. Oh, I turned our opacities down. Might just have to. Yeah, that'll do. I'm just rapidly clicking here in lines and kind of implying the gentle light reflections of grasses, especially in this case, yellow grasses. But being, significantly small that they don't have stamp. Okay. I would say that's pretty good for our little village, little town. I am gonna go back in with our land brown 1. The land brown 1. Bring back down the opacity. I just want to go once over on the outside of the town, and maybe hit the inside of the walls ever so slightly as well. So with that, in a bigger way, really want it to stand out. Even go with size 9. Area around it dark. At the inside of the walls as well, even after the beautiful brushwork we've done. It won't kill it because it's not full. The opacity is not. Yeah. Added a village, or city, a town. I am still gonna take a look at those that whole stamp making concept. I think I have to go do some errands today, so maybe later on. But whatever I end up coming up with, I'll certainly update with you guys, or you guys with via Twitter. So yeah. So this has just been Midday Map Making with Worlds and Crafts. We're entering the last 10 minutes of our little episode here. So if anyone had any burning questions, outbursts, concerns, maledictions, now is your chance. But I suspect that everyone's just been sitting around, relaxing, as this is intended to be for. Oh, I think I really gotta find I really gotta figure out a Gator City stamp for this. And uploading stamps is super easy, don't get me wrong. But we're all set with this map now. So, I'm not sure who is in chat anymore and or still. But for the video on demand, let's go ahead and showcase once again just some of the different map types that are available in Incarnate. I'm going to save our current progress with this one. And I'm going to turn maps. Okay. Create new map. So you have so I currently have beta access to this because it's a paid thing. But this is a fantasy battle map that I haven't really tooled around with yet. So here's just some examples that they're giving. Yeah, that'll work. So here's some examples that they're giving of different maps that they have done. You know, for their fantasy battle maps, which are really nice, like really cool because we can, you know, you can have top-down maps to show where your figures are standing, you know, if you're in a game. This is ultimately meant for tabletop games, but it's also usable for other things. Then you have your fantasy regional HD, which is kind of what we're working with right now, though we're going on a large region scale. This is really excellent at doing more zoomed in regional things. Where you have detailed individual locations. But you can also do larger regional. Like this one's pretty large, you know, pretty zoomed out. That one's very close up. You know, so your regions are obviously going to vary from setting to setting from what you're trying to convey. Then there's the fantasy world maps, which are gorgeous. And it's all the same tools more or less. The only thing that really differs is stamps, because they said they group them into different types, and then some of the available settings are different as well. But yeah, this style works best for large scale maps, continents, countries, or even whole worlds. And you have a parchment world, which is such a nice aged look, you know, very classic. And you can do it in black and white or sepia. And it's great. It's especially good for simple representational maps. You're not trying to make it this big pretty thing, but you just want it to be representational and show the necessary salient information in a visually pleasing way. Then there's also the classic fantasy regional maps. Yeah, it's definitely more what we're working with right now, where it's kind of a zoomed out region. But yeah, so those are the individual types of maps that you can totally make with Incarnate. But then after that, you have to choose a style. You can choose your shape and size, and also resolution. So they have lower resolution 1K, higher resolution 2K, ultra 4K. But you have to check off that you understand it's an experimental feature. It requires a lot of RAM. So if your browser tab crashes, then they recommend just sticking to 2K. Really, there's almost no visible difference if you're choosing the right map. So you just got to choose the right map and go with it. I'm not going to create another map right now because I don't want to do that. Here's some examples of maps that I've already created, like Selmore and Hold, which is, I don't think, actually complete. No, it's almost done, but it's not quite done. For those who are on GG, I've definitely showcased this place before. Yeah, so there's all kinds of fun things you can do with Incarnate. This was a large region map I did at one point of a whole continent with a hex grid included. And well, the Andaran Valley is not my favorite, but it's another map from a D&D game we did. So, I'm not the best at making these maps. This was before I learned about how to shade properly. But as you can see, it's still pretty nice. You know, it's not great. Not gonna be making me any money, but it's definitely not bad. So, this has been Worlds and Crafts, a stream where we talk about setting building. We open the curtain of creation on setting building. That's the word. We're talking about maps, metaplots, minutiae, and all kinds of other fun things, including Gator City. So thank you guys for joining me this afternoon for a relaxing map making session. And do be sure to follow Gehenna Gaming on Twitter, Facebook, on YouTube, Instagram. We are everywhere. We are Legion. And do be also sure to, again, check out Incarnate. And do yourself a favor, a big favor, join our Discord. Because we're all there a lot of the time, chilling, hanging out, talking about really cool things, or just being giant dorks. But on the whole, the biggest seller for me, and always has been for Gehenna Gaming, is that we try our best to be scent-driven, inclusive, and ultimately wholesome. Even though there's a lot of dark humor that flies around, we're definitely most certainly about respect. So join our Discord, have a chat with us. And you can certainly post an image of my face in the form of emotes. Yes, we have emotes of people's faces. And they're hilarious. We've got a whole Ravnos set. And also server pets. Like my buddy Atticus over here that you can't see. But I guess you have to join our Discord to see Atticus's face. So thank you once again for joining us tonight. Tonight, afternoon. And I hope that you all have a lovely day. It's nice here now. I hope it is for everyone else too. So hopefully you got your power back. But remember, creating is better with friends. And I hope to see you next Wednesday.